Greetings and salutations, Ben here, and welcome to Canucks with Guitars special edition, if you will. Sure, let's do that, because we have a special guest,
Sweet.
a friend of mine I've known for, I realized, 30 plus years. And
You did the math on it, I see.
yeah, it's right around that mark, and the thumbnail is from New Year's Eve 1992 into 93, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah. A Polaroid from us hanging out one New Year's Eve, our last New Year's hanging out.
That's so, hey?
So there we are. So welcome my good friend Andre McGillivray from the greater Tofino area, we'll say.
Sure.
Because you're out on the West Coast, which is the best coast.
It's been a while now. Getting those Facebook notices that are like, remember this? And like showing me pictures of like, the first week we were here and stuff. And like we're moving on to 12 years here now.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Nice,
it's been awesome.
Nice.
Tofino's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to get through a roll call here in the chat, because if they're nice enough to say hi to us, the least we can do is say hello back.
True that.
We've got in the chat, let's see here, Hip Metalworks. He says, Tofino, greetings from Sydney, BC.
Sweet.
Nice. There's Mr. Milt Taft himself in the house.
Taft. Oh, yeah.
We've got Dave Ennis.
Himself.
Yeah. BC Rich 581, Magic Man, Charles 75N, Dan of New Jersey, Tim Thomas, Craig Tomlinson, Marky Effects, Thomas Santiago. Let's see, JP Page 2, Milt's younger brother Mark Taft is in the chat as well. See, it's a
wow.
See,
you got
everyone,
way more fans than I do.
Well, from back home, they're tuning in for you, buddy. I'm telling you.
Right.
And welcome newest channel member T. Ricky. Thanks, buddy.
Boom.
The support. We got a new channel member already. Cushman NYC, Muddy Waters, or Muddy H2O, depending on what you go by. Love it. Gretch Zeppelin, Janice Lala. Nice. And those that are joining in. Gretch Zeppelin's from Powell River.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic Powell River. That place is awesome. Very cool. John Wright from No Means No retired to Powell River and opened a brewery there.
Really?
The drummer.
Really? Wow.
And the brewery kills, because the No Means No / Hanson Brothers guys were big home brewers long before that was ever cool.
Sure.
And it perfected it and would do it out of interest. And he became quite prolific. And then when Rob Wright, his brother, the bass player, decided to call it quits, because he was the oldest by a substantial amount, like 12 years, he had met a woman, and they got married late, had kids late, and he moved to Burnaby to raise them, and the other boys moved. Their homes are in Lund, I do believe, or something like that. And then he opened up a brewery in Powell River. He bought the Red Lion or something like that downtown. Maybe the person viewing in Powell River can tell me. But anyway, very successful. It's been going for 2 years now. Highly regarded. It's a beautiful pub, apparently, on the list to go see before one of these days. Anyway,
definitely.
Powell River.
Nice. Randy Crooks is here. Paul McNary. Wow, we got a good crowd. 29 people so far, and more joining in.
Wow.
Nice. So, of course, folks, still you can ask away any questions. If not, that's fine. Sit back, relax, enjoy a conversation. We'll be talking music. I know Andre's going to drop a couple cool bands for us to check out, because that's what he's done. I was joking about it off air. Since I've known him, I remember. I'll tell it now. The first time you invited me over to your apartment, you and Frank's place, the great apartment that it was.
Right.
And Frank and you both, so what are you listening to? And I said, I'm listening to Sunset Strip stuff, because it's 1990, 91. Of course,
as you do.
And I go over to check out the record collection and cassette collection, because there wasn't any CDs yet. And I hadn't heard of any of the bands I'm flipping through. And Frank was of no help, because you were busy doing something, and you said, well, ask Frank. And Frank would tell me everything either sounded like old Doughboys, which I didn't know what meant, because I didn't know who the Doughboys were, right, or Sebadoh. And I didn't know who Sebadoh was. So that didn't help either. So until I found a Danzig album he had and a Motorhead album. I went, those I've heard of.
Right.
But beyond that, and that was when you turned me on to a bunch of stuff. And that's when I discovered Sebadoh, Dinosaur Jr., and I went, oh my, this stuff.
As a
awesome.
guitar player, that's a moment always.
Yeah, because I had and Primus. How can I forget Primus?
Yeah, that was.
And again, listening to nothing but Eddie Van Halen wannabes, all of a sudden I went, "What is he doing?" And it's still to this day, Larry Lalonde just baffles me as a guitar player. 30 years later.
Yeah, he's out there.
There's my lovely sister Amanda in the chat.
Sweet.
Nice. We've got Benji in New Zealand. Hog Rotten's here. Wow. More people coming up. Chris from Coburg. Guess where he's from?
Chris from Coburg.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's from.
Yeah, that's the funny part. You got New Zealand and Coburg, Sure. Love it.
That's now, I mean, COVID showed us. I mean, I made more friends during COVID than I ever had in my whole life, but they're all online.
So true.
And then, the small world perspective is so unique, and how we're all tied, that I'm discovering bands that are in my backyard, that are in Victoria and in Vancouver, from dudes in Spain who are like, I just got this great new band, and they're like a couple 100 kilometers away from me, and then vice versa. I'm turning him on to something that's in his own backyard that he hadn't known yet. So it's just, There's no borders anymore, from a digital perspective, especially musically. And I don't know. I've got people recommending stuff that's Canadian from all over the place and they're ahead of me. They're finding cooler stuff in my own country than I am, and you got to love that. Like, I want to be, behind when that's the case, and I want the brand new, awesome, cool stuff all the time. So
that's right.
I listen to a hell of a lot of European podcasts, and they're all over it.
Sure. And if you haven't heard it before, it's new to you, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I see it. Always looking for new stuff, which is awesome. And you say, with the way the world has shrunk with social media and YouTube here, like hanging out in these live streams, we're always recommending new music to, hey, did you check this out? Or, hey, did you know these guys are back together and doing stuff? And that's another great thing about COVID was I think a lot of musicians buried a lot of hatchets and said, you know what? Let's get the gang back together one more time.
Yeah. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of reunions. A lot of them that were at work too, right? There's a lot of bad reunions out there, and we all know what those feel like. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of returns that were fantastic. You know what? Let's talk about what's the best reunion album that came out. And have you heard the new Hum album when they were dormant for like? Oh my God, dude! You got to write this down. You got to go find the newest Hum album.
Okay.
They put out one more opus, and then I think they were dormant for like 22 years, like a substantial amount of time. And right. I wasn't personally up to speed on it, but it came out as a big surprise to me, and came out there, and they put out probably the best album they've ever done in their lives. Everybody fell over themselves on it, and were all over it for one of the albums of the year for 2020.
Nice.
And then very soon thereafter, like the drummer passed away, and like the music world was heartbroken because they put out this amazing piece of work, and then I don't think we're able to tour it because of COVID, and he passed away before they could. Now I'm sure they could get another drummer, but you know how that is. They were a unit it was all original members, and they had been together for forever. So very sad news, but holy mackerel, that album is like, especially for driving really fast down the highway. That's the one. Yeah, big time. Check that out. Let me get the title of an album off it. I forget.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'll look it up though. And that brewery in Powell River is Wildwood Public House. John Wright is the brewmaster there.
Very cool. Everyone's saying hey to each other. Chris from Coburg is putting out his roots here because he mentioned seeing No Means No at the Horseshoe. Where
that's a good spot. What year? Ask him what year.
What year, Chris? And then he mentioned Dayglow Abortions, Victoria's finest. Hey, Billy Baloney. I'm surprised you made it. I heard he got a new pedal today in the mail. Justin Cox in Utah. Good to see you, my friend. Nice. We were talking off air. The new Dinosaur Jr. album is just awesome.
Yep.
Chris mentions he's seen No Means No 5 times. Wow.
So
Nice.
Hum Inlet. That's what we want to look up.
Hum Inlet.
Yeah.
All right. Because I am taking notes, and I hope you are too, folks.
Yeah. Especially for you as a guitar player, like well, these days, there's the technology has come along such a long ways that if you don't have like an impeccably produced album these days, like there's no excuse because all the gear is available to you.
You could do it on your laptop and sound
pretty reasonable price, right?
A lot of studios
so
in the past.
nailing the mastering and nailing all these components, so you've got this massive track, is like you have to pull it off. So Hum, and it always was impeccable with their production, and this one even more so than all of their work. Really, it's amazing. So definitely check out Hum Inlet. Well worth your time.
Awesome. Let's see here. Chris mentioned last time he saw No Means No was 2004.
It was the first time I saw them was that, not the I was thinking the Horseshoe was the Rivoli. 91, 89, I don't know. It's all a blur.
It is a bit of that. Yeah, I do agree. Let's see
But
here. Hypmo Works mentions Jesse Roper. Anyone? A local Van Isle boy.
Oh yeah, that dude, he lives it. He believes. Yeah, I've seen him a couple times in Tofino. He comes up, I don't know, now and again. If I'm thinking about the right guy, anyway.
Very cool. And I should mention, I get my my signature guitar is made in Victoria.
What's the company?
Reno Fin Custom Guitars.
Yeah, there's a few companies on the island that do not massive production, mind you, but like excellent work for sure.
A former schoolmate of Amanda's moved out there, and he may be relocating back here now. I'm not sure, but he's been in Victoria for the last 10 years, I think. Charles75N asks, can you recommend a good starting interface?
That's you. That's a you question.
A Focusrite. They're cheap. That's a 2-channel. That'll work. Get your line level into your computer, and then you can just download a copy of Reaper for free as your DAW. Even though I'm getting out of my element, I still prefer just tube amps cranked up. I'll be honest. That's me.
All the kids are talking about Reaper though.
That's
super user friendly and like top notch, cheap. I'm not even a studio guy, but I know that.
See? There we go. Let's see. Chris from Coburg says, I was at the Rivoli. Ticket says December 91.
Yeah, there you go. We were at the same show. Who opened up? Rocktopus? No, that wasn't it. It was somebody memorable. Maybe it says that on the ticket. That was my first time ever seeing him.
Very cool. I think the Rivoli's reopened. I think post-COVID they were able to reopen. I know the El Macombo just reopened.
Yep. I heard the Phoenix is getting torn down.
Ooh, really?
I gotta move this. Hold on.
All good.
This battery's not wanting to agree with me.
Chris says the X opened.
Oh, yes, that's true. And it was so good. I forgot that's the first time I saw the X.
Nice.
Nice one. I've got a big bundle of concert tickets buried in some box somewhere. I've looked for it a few times and gave up. But, yeah, the X. Holy shit. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Blows your mind, right?
Right?
Young man.
That's what I love about this whole YouTube thing is as big as things are, it's as small as it is too. You're like, oh yeah, this guy was at the same show you were at,
Right.
Terry's 3Gs is here, moderator to the stars, and me. Awesome. All Dave, all night's here. Great to see all Dave, all night in here. Awesome. Let's see here. So what first concert you went to? What would have been the first concert you went to?
Big or small?
Let's go small first and then big. Why not?
Well, we're from Southern Ontario, right? And so as a young man, I snuck into Trent University, into the bar there at 16, I think. And I think it was David Wilcox. Remember the laying pipe peak? The peak of Dave Wilcox. Laying pipe all night long. Everyone was losing their mind at this innuendo song. And went and saw him at Trent University. Gotta be honest, that was the first one.
Hey, Amanda and I walked out with Dave Wilcox in 06.
Yeah, first bar show. So there it is.
There we are. Nice. All right, first big show.
I'm pretty sure it was REM during their Life's Rich Pageant tour. They'd just broken into Coliseum level at that point. I forget who opened.
Nice.
I forget who opened. But yeah, in Toronto somewhere.
Very cool.
And then first big outdoor show was 89. It was New Order, and PIL opened, and the Sugar Cubes on their final tour before Bjork went solo. And that was magic. Molson Amphitheater, Toronto. And it was one of those magic unplanned things, or maybe it was, I don't know, where the sun sets and then it starts to go black, and just about when it's dark enough, then New Order comes on, right? Right when it's night. It was awe-inspiring. I think it was 88 or 89.
Very cool. Very cool.
I would have been
Chris is liking the gigs. I thought you would, buddy. Nice. My sister says, "Oh, the Sugar Cubes." Yep.
Yeah.
Greg Zeppelin's first concert was Motley Crue. Right on. Hey, Fruitcake Tony.
Gotta love that.
Yeah. I'd say the first big show I went to would have been Roy Clark.
Roy Clark at the where the Belleville Bulls played. Oh. There you go.
Dad had an extra ticket. Let's go.
So you're lucky. You were born into a musical family.
Exactly.
Right? So your dad was taking you to stuff
first small show would have been something Dad would have been playing,
not many people can say that. That's pretty dope way to grow up.
I was at festivals as a kid, but you don't remember that stuff really. And it was all folk music, and I was like, oh my god. I still, to this day, I'm still scarred for folk music.
It's in your blood now.
It is. So, hey, Half Ace. You can see it. But first rock show was not too long after you headed out west. Frank said to me, "Hey, you want to go see Alice in Chains?"
Ooh, lucky boy.
I went, yes. It was their first headline tour, and they were playing the concert hall.
Is it Facelift? Is that their first album?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a big deal. Still is. You got to love the lore that's wrapped around them, and people still love them as much today as they did 30 years ago. Jerry
Cantrell is always in the guitar player's conversation because his tone was always so on point. And that's what I think one of the reasons why Alice in Chains broke as big as they did, as quickly as they did, because they had the alternative fans coming in, but then the rock guys like myself were like, "Damn, that is a wicked tone." And we were into guitar riffs and tone, and he had wicked riffs and great tone, and we were like, "This is cool." Singer doesn't sound like Robert Plant like every other wannabe, but this is cool.
Yeah, big time. Pretty great era. I read a lot of stuff online now. People are complaining about grunge in general. There was a lot of the outskirts, like the Imitations, the second wave, when the record labels were signing anything that had distortion pedals. There was a lot of junk that came in afterwards. But that all easily filtered out. It wasn't successful by any means. But the record labels, I was lucky to live in Vancouver at that time, because the blast radius was Portland, Seattle, and Vancouver. So the record label freaks back then, when corporate record labels were running the show, they were up in droves like vampires, and trying to sign anything that they thought might be the next big thing and just capitalize on the whole wave. So unfortunately, that distorts the original time.
Right.
But the highlight bands are forever. And the motivation behind Nirvana to bring up other super cool bands that would never have that avenue, the Jesus Lizard, right, doing a split with the Jesus Lizard, and having the Cows open up for them and all these other wild bands that would never see the light of day in the mainstream. They had a shot there. And I love that.
So true.
That was the moment where like punk was in Kmart. Like Kurt Cobain, we used to talk about that. Like he had the power now to distribute into the tiniest small towns throughout America and like give that vehicle to young men and women who may not have been that hadn't the opportunity prior to that. It was all fanzines and letter writing. This is pre-internet shit we're talking about. So to go into a Kmart and find a Nirvana record in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, it's pretty great. So,
yep. And it's true. And it brought that punk rock mentality. And I think, and it went from having, you know, like one or two little independent shows around here to weekly. It was like, where is it this week? You know, who's in town? You know, who did we grab that's traveling between Toronto and Montreal, right?
100%.
All
and
those.
if you look at the old flyers at the peak times, it's boggling, right? It's mind-boggling. Some of the flyers were like in a 30-day, like the month of December. Here's the shows for the month of December, and it's like 15 shows are like you die to see them now. Like it's just like unbelievable.
We had a brief resurgence of that about 10 years ago around here, because we had still a bunch of kids playing guitar, which was great. And that was the great thing about Nirvana breaking, was you didn't have to be a damn Eddie Van Halen to play guitar. Anybody could play again.
Yeah.
And so bands were starting up left, right, and center. And it was about 10 to 15 years ago that there was still a bunch of kids playing in little rock and roll, alternative bands, whatever, metal bands. And then there was a bunch of guys our age where either, their kids were old enough to have babysitters, or the oldest kid looked after the younger kids. And they all started dad bands, but it was original music, still playing the stuff that we listened to back in the day. And next thing you know, we're renting at the Hillcrest Community Center twice a month, putting on shows. And I'm just like, ain't this a bitch? This 20 years later, we're right back at the Hillcrest Community Center here in Belleville, putting on punk shows and having a blast.
What do you think is going to happen now?
Yeah.
What do you think when the coast is clear and all the smoke is dissipated and we're past the whole COVID thing and we're in the new world? What's the deal? Is live music going to like absolutely explode, or is it going to? Are we over it? What's going on?
That's the question. I think we're going to have more your artisan music, like a lot of pub style single duo stuff, folk, if you will. That's definitely going to stick around, because it seems like a lot of venue owners, because it's just been so gutted, they don't promote anymore or anything like that. They're like, here's a bit of token amount of money, basically a little bit more than putting in a karaoke machine or a DJ.
Right.
So there's that side. But then again, you still have bars that want to have cover bands come in. But
right.
I think it's harder if you're starting out as a musician. You have to do it as much online as it doesn't matter how many gigs you play. You might as well just make your album virtually, put it out digitally, and go out and busk just to get your experience in front of people. And unless we have some people that are willing to promote.
Yeah. So you think small shows will survive on an entertainment level? Is the big rock show dead?
No.
But
judging by the amount of rock heads in the crowd here, like I'm looking at Fruitcake Tony. He's already been to like 3 or 4 major concerts this year alone.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Yeah,
but I'm saying that's the weird part. It still exists. Like it's,
what we don't see
hypothetical. I know it does. I just want to hear your take on it.
I'm just wondering how much we're going to have of the 800 seat venues. It seems like you're either playing in an NHL arena or you're playing at the Horseshoe.
Right.
We don't have that in between. How do you get out of the club into the stadium? We got to have the concert hall venues. Stuff like that hold 1,000 to 2,500. So.
I hear you. Because I mean, it's a different world out there. Like a lot of those places would sustain themselves with alcohol sales, right? And I'm seeing overall the people that go out and drink heavily are it's far less, right? It's a different mindset, and that's great, that's fantastic. But then how does the venue sustain itself financially if that's not the main revenue, right?
Right. Without, being a ticketed event, but then you're not getting the people that just want to go to drink. They're there to actually see the bands. And then again, they're like, well, you as the band, you promote it. No, you're hiring us. That somewhere got lost along the way. I'd like to see a few more of these, the medium-sized venues that are still around, like the restored Empire Theater here in Belleville. I think it holds 800 seats or so. So it's a great size, but they're just interested in having classic bands come through. Like the youngest band that's playing there is, actually it might even be this week, is Big Wreck is coming through, which I thought was amazing. But other than that, it's Blue Rodeo plays. When they reform, they play at the and they'll never have, say, a local band open for them, which used to be that used to be a big thing too. A band would tour, but they'd have a local opener every night. They might have one support on tour with them, but that third act would be a local act quite often. Then again, you gotta have promoters for that, dedicated promoters.
Yeah, it's just a different scene out there. I don't really fully grasp it, but I think there's some cities that just keep going. You know what I mean? Your Austin, Texas's, your Minneapolis, Minnesota's, like they're still absolutely killing as far as scene goes, and lots of clubs. But just overall, especially with COVID, there was a lot of club struggle, right? Yeah, and not a lot, and then weird like non-government support, like where sports bars were fine, but live music venues were not fine. So there's a famous story of the Rio Theater in Vancouver where they weren't allowed to open, but all the sports bars were. So they very cheekily converted to a sports bar that happened to play music, right? Like and have like live shows and such. Or that was a movie theater, play films. It was just such a weird thing, but I don't know. A lot of venues definitely closed the doors during that time, and that was a sad thing.
Billy Baloney says the club scene in Cleveland is still pretty strong.
Oh yeah, lots of great bands in Cleveland.
Yeah,
no shit.
Milt says Alice Cooper is supposed to be playing at Caesars Windsor early in the new year. There we are.
Windsor. Wild.
Michael Cross just mentions, thank God for the Commodore. True.
Yeah.
One of the most legendary venues in Canada.
100%.
Symmetry mentions that as well. He's another BC boy. I get it. Nice. Let's see here. Fruitcake Tony says we have theaters here, / playing here at one. Yeah, / has played here multiple times with the solo band. Won't get Guns N' Roses to play Belleville, but you can get / because it's about 1/10 the price. That's the way it works. Guns N' Roses is a machine at this point. They have 86 employees. Don't you forget it, folks.
Really?
Yep. 86
you know
employees.
What? They don't need 86 employees. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Somebody's getting a paycheck for nothing on that one.
Well, that's you got to have 2 complete stages and rigs so they can flip-flop each other.
Touring, sure, okay,
yeah,
but like,
and that was the thing was when COVID shut them down, they decided to keep everybody on the payroll too because they didn't want all these people losing out, which was awesome, and it was just basically redirect any royalties that are coming through during that time.
Well, there you go. See, I didn't know any of that. I stand corrected. Yeah. I'm going to change my opinion on that. To me, I felt like this because I didn't read about them doing a lot of touring during COVID. So the idea that they had this many employees, it's like twiddling their thumbs. It's like, okay.
Yeah, they just.
But that's great.
They're not laying anybody off because it'll be fine. 3 months from now, we'll be back on the road, right. And then 3 months turned into 18 months, right?
Yeah, it sure did.
So, I will say, one thing too, especially on the upper levels, is Live Nation runs everything. There's no competition anymore.
Right.
For promoters.
Yeah, Ticketmaster, Live Nation. There's some room for improvement there.
Yep.
Some diversification options.
Yeah. Somebody's making a lot of money, and I'm sure the artists, at the upper level are getting compensated, but the last major concert I went to, I spent almost $200 to see Tom Petty. And I wasn't even down on the floor. Now, thank God I did because it was Tom Petty's last tour, and I went, oh my! And it was life-changing. What amazing! thing. But yeah, it's like, and I was like, this is the last one. Like when you're going, pat downs and metal detectors, and I hadn't gone to a big concert in a number of years. It's always been outdoor events, usually free. Peterborough still puts on concerts in the park every summer. So
yeah, Peterborough's strong, hey?
Yep.
My sister and my parents live in Peterborough. And my parents moved there because my sister went to Trent and settled down in Peterborough and had a beautiful child named Claire. And she's married to Rick Fiennes, the guitar player, blues guy.
Nice.
He's up for 2 Junos this year. Best
Very
songwriter,
cool.
best blues guitarist.
Nice.
He's quite accomplished. He's doing it since he was like 16, and we're talking like 45 years of straight grassroots touring and workshops and the whole deal. And
the name
he's
does
real
ring
ticket.
a bell, definitely.
Yeah, heavy duty blues guitarist, very good.
Mm-hmm. I think the last show I caught up there, actually we were talking about it on the weekend, was we heard I Mother Earth was playing.
Oh yeah,
we were like, oh,
are they
cool.
from there? They seem to play there all the time.
Well, they're from Peterborough. Yeah.
Okay, well there you go.
So, but the funny thing was,
Peterborough.
I think it was
Who
about
else from there? Is
a week
Sebastian
before the
Bach.
show.
Isn't he from Peterborough?
Yeah,
Skid
a
Row
week
guy?
before the show, it was announced that Edwin was maybe rejoining the band, and we're like, oh. So it turned out we show up at the show, and sure enough, they announced, yeah, we're going back out on the road, and Edwin's back with the band, except it was Edwin and I Mother Earth.
Oh.
One of those compromises.
Is his name trademarked or something with another label?
I have no idea. At this point, probably not. I can't see Edwin having any form of label support.
Right.
So, let's see here. Terry has a question for both of us. Let's see. Are we also, because of COVID, going to see the decline of bands being on record labels and just going direct?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Labels, to me, in my little niche weirdo world of noise rock and post-punk, bizarre underground stuff, the only reason labels seem to exist is for the physical manufacture of and distribution of product. And there's a lot of fantastic labels out there. The Ghost is Clear Records out of United States is fantastic. Forbidden Place Records. But that's always the word records, right? And then we've got vinyl issues galore, which I'm sure you're all very aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And then majors the majors that are out there are trying to get in on the vinyl train. So you'll have like ABBA, this is a true story, like want to put out their new album on vinyl and like will hold up manufacturing for like months. And then you get a handful of those back to back. And like bands aren't releasing their vinyl for the album they released 2 months ago till like summer of next year. And that's where it's at now, and it's only going to get worse. So
right.
The big question is vinyl even a medium that can continue?
I see it as a niche to a certain extent. I don't think it's going to compete with digital, unfortunately.
Well, it's not. It can't. Competition isn't the right word.
Yeah.
I believe if one band sells one record, one album,
right,
it's more revenue than like
probably 1,000 downloads,
30,000 streams or something absurd like that. They make more money off of one record sale than they do off of an absurd amount of digital sales.
True.
So that's it's not that they're competing; they're just very different. And although it's maybe a niche and smaller percentage market, a little goes a long way.
That's true. Let's see here.
And the vinyl freaks, they're legend, right? They're like rabid. They can't wait to buy more. So you gotta love it. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Sean Hockey asks, "Hello, Andre. What's your channel?" Well, you do have a radio show. We should mention
2 radio shows.
Sorry, 2.
Get with it.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes. Multitasking.
Did you even know that? They're like back to back. It's me both times.
Yes. 2 radio shows. Back to back. He opens for himself, folks.
Yes.
Yes. He's like your favorite drummer, folks. He always plays in 2 bands a night. One of those. But where can people find your program?
So the little teeny tiny radio station in Tofino is called Tough City Radio. The website is toughcityradio.rocks. I don't know how the owner got that, but he got it. So it's Tough City, so Tough spelled Tuff, toughcityradio.rocks. And then if you look on there, there's a button that says Listen Now if you want to just tune in. There's the Radio Garden app you could use and click on Tofino, find it on the map. We're the only radio station, so you can do that. The free Radio Player app also has it. So it's all free, it's all on there, it's all digital. But if you go to the website, this Friday I'll be doing episode 35. Episode 35 of Kook Soup, Sick Psych, Thang. Once in a while, I'll throw in a little Trash Can Blues and maybe some Greasy Soul. Not so much these days. There's so much good garage and surf and tiki bizarrities out there, and psych. Like the psych scene worldwide right now is just unreal. So that's that show, and it's cool. It's got a little tiny following, and it's super dope. I love it. But then Operation X-Ray is on right afterwards at 10 o'clock. So 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Kook Soup. But all the episodes are there. So there's 34 episodes to go through, and they're all super fun times. And they're an hour long each at most. And then Operation X-Ray is the one that's immediately afterwards, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I usually run 2 hours to 2.5 hours on that one. Oh, look at you. Smooth.
See, this is why we have moderators.
I love it.
Like that. They can post links
That's
into
the place.
chats.
And then on SoundCloud's their vehicle. So I've got 34 episodes of Operation X-Ray out there, and that's the one that like internationally is really got some awesome traction and attention, and it's been great. You know, it's noise rock primarily with a lot of post-punk bits and pieces in there. I do a little section called Ladies Who Bring the Thunder on there, showcase our fantastic, powerful women who have like dominated the scene, especially in the last few years, and are putting out just unbelievable stuff. Of course, always, but I see more prolific female-led units out there now than ever before, and I want to showcase that. And also a little section of shoegaze, heavy shoegaze. It's still a super vibrant, amazing genre that's putting out a ton of modern stuff these days. And then a little bit of new wave too. I mean, there's all these different words to describe that sort of thing: cold wave, dark wave, synth wave. At the end of it all, it's new wave in my opinion, and it falls into that bracket. And I just showcase that as well, a little section of that. And I focus primarily on new music because there's so much good new music out there. Honestly, like just during COVID, I was online so much, and that old attitude that you've lived through it when you were young. I lived through it when we were young. The generation before us is like, oh, all the good music was in the 60s. All the good music was in the 70s, and then on and on and on and on. And it's just bullshit. It's like there's the music scene out here now at this exact moment in our lives is so huge, so vibrant, so amazing, more so than ever before, with access to incredible abilities to make incredible sounds with incredible production at a fraction of what it used to be, what you would need to do in prior generations, right?
Sure.
So and I worked so hard at trying to find all the cool new stuff that's out there, and I'm like barely scratching the surface. And I need to depend on other cool radio shows and podcasts, and I get a lot of my hits out of them. And I always give them full credit. It's like, hey, I got this one from Cool Strings over in France because he's dope or whatever. And I don't care how I get it, as long as I get it and I get it out there, and somebody else. If one person gets turned on to one super cool song that changes, their perspective on the universe, then that's pretty much it. That's it.
I dig it. I love it. See, a bunch of people talk.
Operation X-Ray and Kook Soup. And I'm still trying to master getting the word out there in some.
Terry's got it all right there. There we go.
Oh my God, it's better than I am.
Nice. And those times are Pacific, folks.
Yep.
Should mention that.
And yeah, Kook Soup, it's Tofino-centric, right? And we're a tiny little surf town with what do they call it? Tiny little drinking town with a surfing problem. And so it's reflective of that place. But Operation X-Ray is definitely an international showcase for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely good. I was just thinking that I've got some heavy video editing to do this week, so I think I found my soundtrack for it.
Yeah. No, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, I mean, that's it. It's just promoting new, awesome stuff. And some of it's like pretty obscure and deep down the well. the rabbit hole, if you will, and just pulling them out and putting a spotlight on them as the
I
ticket.
love that too because everybody sounds different. Like it's not that
like noise rock
manufactured sound.
is super weird. It's very underground. It's often offensive, with their approach on certain things in the best way conceivable. And it's like it's still got that last true punk spirit to it, because it's, as we know, with online and everything's been mainstreamized. There is no underground anymore to a degree, except for noise rock, because I don't think it ever could truly be mainstream. Some people have tried. You can hear it in the style, but I don't know. It's one of the last true rebel music genres out there.
Chris asks, "Hey Andre, do you know Misty from Yoko Kazionos?"
I don't think so. I know who the Yoko Casinos are.
Hey, Gear Junkie 35. It's late but here. What's up, good people? Nice. Yeah, Chris mentions Tofino person. Yeah.
Oh, how interesting. No, never. I don't think I crossed paths with her. You never know. I often don't think I've met people that I've absolutely met and just didn't register. I got the memory of a goldfish. I got to write it all down.
Both, but I just blame lifestyle for me. I don't know. That's it for me. Let's see here. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Michael Cross has seen Iggy Pop a bunch of times.
Lucky man.
Play at the Rock Pile in the 80s. I wonder if that's the same Rock Pile that I played at. I think they reopened at a different location by the time I played there. Now it's a rock bar in the west end of Toronto, which may or may not even still be open at this point, but it was like literally, I think George Lynch played there a couple weeks before me, and Faster Pussycat was playing there just after me. I'm just like, wow.
I haven't heard that name forever. But you got to love that Hollywood Boulevard, like Sunset Strip shit, man. Yeah. Like, I love all the documentaries that are out there. Like, what an absurd time in human existence, and I love it. Like, I wouldn't change a thing.
Oh yeah, we got offered to open for Faster Pussycat, and we're like, no, we're good, because I thought we sounded like Godsmack. We were very heavy and very aggressive, and we're like,
right.
That's not
which
really
at the time was the curve of taking it somewhere else.
That was 10 years ago.
I don't want to throw the new metal claim on there, but that was the new attempt and the road. It was cool.
Yeah, I didn't get into that stuff myself, but the band that I had joined, they were the busiest band in the area, and I wanted to play. I don't want to play in a basement for 3 months and one gig every 3 months, and they were gigging all the time. So joined up with them, and I never got listened to Godsmack, and then literally I'd been with the band a year, and then the local radio station changed their format from classic rock to new in classic rock, played a Godsmack song on the radio, and went, holy crap, that sounds like our band. And then I went over to my best friend's place. I said, why didn't you tell me I was playing a Godsmack tribute band? He goes, oh, I figured you knew. Huge influence, eh? Like, no kidding. So I got into it. Hey, Michael B. This is a great show, eh? Looks like my sister had to leave. She had to put Sam to bed. Her lovely daughter. There it is. Yep. So if you're listening, sis, good night, sis. Good night, Sam.
Right on.
Very cool. We're going to go for about another 15 minutes here, folks.
Well, I don't know. So much stuff came out in 2021 that I can't even, keep track of. But for big guitar bands that are like good times, you should check out the new release from Sugar Horse.
Sugar Horse?
You should write that down.
I'm writing that down.
And then another like real masterful production and mastering package. Like absolutely sick sounding stuff. That's a really good one. What else would you like? Probably dig Rid of Me from
Gear Junkie 35 says, so musician's friend goofed, ordered a $16 chorus, was sent a Digitech hardwire tuner pedal worth $60. Score. Hello to Randy Upchurch. Dwight Bailey's here. Nice. Let's see here. Guitar Man 45 says, when I seen Iggy and the Stooges in the 80s, power went out several times. People hanging from speakers, jumping into the crowd. Bizarre. Well, you're from Detroit, so that'd be a hometown gig. No wonder. I just imagine seeing Izzy and the Stooges at home. Hey, there we go. The one and only Boner Jams in the house. Great name. Says, what the hell is going on? I didn't get my daily Ben Coombs nude to remind me of tonight's show. Uh-oh. I think we lost Andre. We'll see if he comes back. His battery may have run out, folks. We shall see. What's up, Boner Jams? Got 40 people watching. Thoughts on Dirty Honey? Harem Scarem's a little too mainstream, I think, Zach. Oh, there he is. Dre's back.
I don't know what's going on. My son's playing Fortnite in the back. I think it's taking all the power. It's all the juice. Did you steal all the juice for Fortnite?
What?
Did you steal all the juice for Fortnite?
What juice?
The internet juice?
No, I just got it for Fortnite.
I'm just kidding.
Nice.
I'm not
Hit Metalworks
totally takes our juice.
Thoughts on Dirty Honey?
Fuck you.
So funny. Sorry, what were you saying?
Thoughts on Dirty Honey?
I love being stumped. Don't know them.
Really?
Where are they from?
Where are they from? I want to say Nashville, but they're not from Nashville. But they're kind of folk roots, really cool stuff. They've been doing some big shows. Hey, Will Varela. I'm not on battery, Will, so no worries.
Hey, Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Was my package there?
No.
Why is it coming?
Thanks
Dirty Honey.
again.
So yeah, I'll check that out for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, honey.
They've been doing some great stuff.
Hold on one sec.
Hey, bud. I'm just on a call. Can you give me a second?
Yeah, but,
Give me a second.
can you just...
That's right. This Wednesday, it looks like, Boner James will be doing Metal Wednesdays with Jay Hannon this Wednesday. So check that out, folks. It's a great show. If you want to get your metal on, they're into those 7-8 string guitars tuned real low.
Right.
Cookie Monsters usually on vocals. I don't know. It's aggressive. They're angry. They sound very angry, I find. So I don't know. It's good. Boner James likes it. That's fine. Let's see here. Thanks again, Terry, for posting the links. Zach Dong had mentioned you should play some Harem Scarem on your show. But he's an Oshawa boy, so.
Well, that's I get a lot of people like sending me like, oh, you should play this, you should play that, like play Throbbing Grizzle from the mid '80s. That was the best stuff. It's like it was great stuff. There's no doubt about it. But I'm not looking back. I'm looking forward, and I want to look like here forward. So if I know Dirty Honey's from LA according to Wiki, okay, down.
There we go.
I'll give him a shot.
And Terry mentioned that as well. And thanks for the donation, Boner Jams. He says, I love blown out colons on Metal Wednesday. Well, that would do it. Nice. And I do know Harem Scarem was doing some shows again, which was nice to see.
Do they have like a new album out or something?
I don't. Well, there was talk of, hey, what do we got in the archive we can put together? Like other Oshawa band, the Killer Dwarfs, did the same thing a few years ago. They put out some unreleased material and then reformed as an excuse, and they've been touring ever since. I know, because I opened for the Killer Dwarfs because we got offered. I'm like, fuck yeah, they were my favorite band when I was 13. I'm opening for the Killer Dwarfs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was. I loved it. Opened for Anvil one night too, because why not?
Why not?
Yep. Like I figured they're like Canada's Motorhead, right?
True.
They just been going forever and releasing new material all the time.
Totally.
And
they have like 30 albums out.
Exactly. And it was a
movie
couple
was
years
awesome.
after the documentary came out, and then we got offered. I was like, I know the gig. I saw the movie. I know what we're doing. It's gonna be a pay
Yeah,
to
I wasn't.
play.
I mean, I was familiar with a couple of their songs. I didn't own anything from them. It wasn't my thing. But I watched the documentary with like glee and was certainly a fan for their passion. You know, afterwards,
Sure.
and was rooting for them 100%.
And plus, I got to say, I opened for Anvil. Why not? Russ and Daryl are awesome dudes. That's true. Hip Metalworks. Russ and Daryl are both from the Dwarves. Cool guys. Got to know both of them on camera. Russ borrowed my guitar strap that night because he forgot his. And Daryl's a hell of a drummer, still to this day. I think they were playing up in Northwest Territories last week.
Wow, that's got some.
Yeah. I was just like,
Some
ooh,
commitment,
that's got
you know?
to suck on
That
cartage.
can't be easy.
Ooh, okay, Terry, we'll go for it. It says, for Andre, Sloan, Canada's version of Weezer, yes or no?
No, because they're not that heavy.
See you, Cushman. Actually, it was Sloan that reopened the Elmo last weekend.
No, I don't doubt it. They're
They
definitely
did 2
prolific
nights.
and super
Yeah.
influential, no doubt about it. But
Mhm.
Weezer, I don't know. I don't think so. They're definitely their own thing. Like that. I'm not a huge Sloan fan, but there's some great stuff out there. What was that album they put out on Geffen Records where they went super soft on them, and like
Oh, right.
just wanted to put out their own album, their own way, their own style, and like against all the record labels like recommendations and requests /
Yeah.
orders for them to do what they were signed for, which was that underwhelmed vibe. And they did their own, that Coax Me song and all that album. I forget
Right.
what the name of it is. But they were pretty punky and balls out to just do what they wanted to do. And then if you go back to that album now, the thing totally like is as relevant now as it is then. It's like a really vibrant, awesome album.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while for me, but I dug it.
Yep. Boner James asks, what's your favorite band?
Yeah, I don't have favorites. There's so much good new stuff out there. I mean, for 2021, like right off the hop here, I'd recommend checking out Bummer, Dead Horse, their album Dead Horse. So check out the band Bummer. Glassing from Austin, Texas. Their new album is incredible. It's kind of like Deftones meets like Sigur Rós. It's like really out there. It's awesome stuff. Very heavy.
Okay.
Big Vic. You should check out Big Vic. And
Yep,
then
I know
get
Big
into
Vic.
the guitar player, Jeff Murphy. He does all the production, recording, engineer work, and guitar work for Big Vic. You'd dig that. Kind of a heavy shoegaze
Mhm.
video. Sugar Horse that I mentioned, you should check out. If you want something super awesome, best album of 2020 was the Exhalants new release from Austin, Texas as well.
Okay.
Well worth a visit. Yeah, favorites? I don't know. In the noise rock category, like, you know, Cherubs put out a new album this year. That thing's fantastic. And it's kind of a weird thing where half of it's 33 and half of it's 45. They do like these slowed down versions of their own songs. Wacko.
Fair enough.
Put it in perspective. That's kind of neat. Whores are going to put out a new album very, very soon. And they're probably the most active band on social media, like commenting and rooting for other bands. You know, I've always seen them in the comments section. Very, very great stuff. So they've been struggling through a new album for some time. Lost a drummer halfway through. It's like an intense album. So much so where the drummer's like, fuck this, and left. I don't know what the details are, but got a new guy in there, killing it.
I got an act for you. I came across them, I think, 3 years ago. They played a local festival here. Crown Lands.
Crown Lance.
Yeah.
Heard of him. Not super familiar.
Really
But
cool
I'll do my
duo.
homework tonight. Dirty Honey and Crown Lands. I love it.
Yeah, Crown Lands, really cool duo. Like, when I met them, I think they were both like 22 years old. Drummer and guitar player playing with octavers and all kinds of cool stuff, and foot pedals to do his bass parts. And it was like Rush meets the White Stripes.
Love it.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, sure. You know,
I love with gear that like it's just there's no limitations anymore. You know, pedal boards, which weren't so common, you know, whatever 10, 20 years ago, are like pretty much staples. It's like, where's your pedal
Yeah.
board if you don't have one? Like,
oh yeah, that's it. Like when we were starting out, it was like a guitar player might have a couple that he would just plug into on the floor. Nobody had a pedal board.
loose. Like
Or-
no case or nothing.
You had an 11 space rack unit with your fridge of effects. It was one or the other. There was no in between.
Yeah.
And now,
But I think you know what I love? I love that pedal culture is actually like it's a thing. Like I hadn't been along McQuaid in forever, and I just happened to pop in one the other day, and there was like a display case of like 300 pedals. It's totally like in the attempt to be your own creative force. That's how you color your sound, and so obviously the vintage stuff is like people are hot for, and finding those cool bits and pieces is the ticket, and I love that. I love like the scrounge, the looking for the cool and the obscure weirdo stuff. It's great.
Going to gear shows over the years, especially Southern Ontario, you're only going to see what cast-offs from Toronto make it this far out. And then my first time in California, I went to a gear show just outside of LA, and it's like what would be the highlight of a local show. The guy's got 10 of them on his table. You're just like, wow. And then you realize, well, yeah, because for generations we have musicians migrating to LA. Vast majority don't make it, sell all their possessions to make it back home to restart their life. So all this gear ends up just saturating Southern California.
And the fact that there's one more independent, like small companies doing stomp boxes now too.
Oh yeah.
Before it just seemed like there was like half a dozen names that were the names out there, but now there's like these cool artisanal stomp boxes, really, with
that's LPD
weirdo
Pedals.
nerds who
He used to
put
be
together
branded
these
as
cool bits.
Artisan Pedals out of Mesa, Arizona.
That's the greatest shit ever. It's so great. Like I wish we had more of that when we were young. Like, and then you just are customizing that way.
And their next level stuff.
Custom
you plug it in.
pedal.
You're like, this isn't
name.
Boss. This isn't MXR. This is next level boutiquerie because it's handmade by this dude.
I know, and they only have the potential to manufacture like 50.
Yep.
And they sell out in like a nanosecond. It's like craft beer, same thing. Like, like amazing things disappearing because the people in the know scoop them up.
Yeah, the only difference is you can possibly find it. Yeah, it's almost like that vintage wine market where all of a sudden you'll find, there's one of these pedals out in the wild. Milt says, Andre, glad you can make it on to tonight's show.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway,
Symmetry
look up
Pantera.
those episodes if anybody's hunting for weirdo stuff. The Kook Soup is a bit of the milder of the two shows, not light by any means, but Operation X-Ray is way out there in the heaviness attitude.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ton of episodes on there. Download them for your next car ride, and you might find your new favorite band for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, good one, Zach. Yeah. Also, where is he? He's out of Georgia. Noah Guthrie in Good Trouble. Great act. Very Mellencamp-esque.
Okay.
I would say. And our good buddy Rhett Scholl is the guitar player in the band. He's a great guitar player out of the Atlanta area. For now. Although he just built a new studio, so yeah, he'll be sticking in the Atlanta area. Figured he was going to migrate to Nashville sooner or later, but he hasn't done it yet. So maybe at one point. Excuse me. So yeah, Symmetry saw Pantera at the Commodore. That'd be a loud show.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
That's a big band for a small room like that.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, when I saw Alice in Chains, they used the big PA system. Still the loudest show I'd ever been to.
Wild.
Yeah. I didn't understand what Lane was
actually
singing
ended
until
up
I plugged my
seeing
ears.
Testament at the Starfish Room in Vancouver. Because they had a new album out, like not that long ago, really.
Yeah.
That was actually great. And they brought their whole backline for like a Coliseum into a 350 or whatever 500 person venue, and like blew the power to the building like 3 times during the course of the set. But like that's awesome.
Yeah, that's rock and roll right there. Well, we've hit the top of the hour, my friend. This has been awesome. Do we have any parting words for the viewers out there? And thanks again, Terry, throwing that up there.
That's cool. Yeah, thanks for putting that up.
Yes. Any parting words?
I mean, it's all current days, The kids putting out music these days are absolutely killing it. So it's just about finding wicked new stuff that's out there, and it's out there, 100%.
I agree. Just got to do a little search, folks. Awesome. Well, hang
Or
on the
don't, or
line.
just listen to my show. I'll do the work for you.
Even better.
Yeah.
That's right. Even better. Sometimes I catch on to stuff. Sometimes. Well, thanks again, my friend, for coming on tonight. If you'll hold the line here while we wrap things up, and we'll do a little outro, and then we'll say goodbye offline here. So thanks again, everybody that tuned in tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you. Milt says we got to do a part 2.
I'm down.
There we go. Easy peasy. So thanks again, everybody that tuned in. Again, if you're new, please subscribe. Check out Andre's show at the link Terry's been putting into the chats. Shout out to my moderators. Well, mainly Terry. Perfect. And, of course, shout out to the channel members. Oh, damn it, I forgot. Got to shout out the Patreons on Canucks With Guitars show. If you'd like to become a patron, join me on Patreon at that address. You get a shout out every week as well as exclusive content. I want to thank Guitar Man 45, Symmetry, Paul McNary, Mickey Stuttlemeyer, Joe C, Keith H, Knucklehead Zero, Unfucking Believable, Charles 75N, John Z 351, JP Page 2, Jose Benito Martinez Jr., Fruitcake Tony, Bent Tom, Blackjack Guitar, Grumpy Mike Guitar, Craig Tomlinson, Cousin Todd Flowers, Charles Green, Brad Guitar Miller, Absolute Mayhem, Other Left, Randy Crooks, and of course, Mohogany. So, awesome. Almost forgot. Can't do that. Patrons and all. Everyone have a great night, and as always, hold those doors open, let that lady in heady in traffic, do good things, and good things will happen to you. Why? Doug's wife is real. I know. I vacationed with her. Cheers, rock on, be good to each other, and of course, don't litter.